Okay then, in this video I'm going to talk about the listening module for the IELTS and go over exactly what you can expect from the listening module. So let's look first at what the test is actually about. It will take about 30 minutes and there will be 4 audio sections. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3 and Section 4. So with 30 minutes you can see that each section will take about 6 or 7 minutes to complete. And there are 40 questions. These 40 questions are spread out over the 4 sections. So obviously, simple maths shows you that there will be about 10 questions for each section. It's also worth noting that of these 4 sections, they're usually divided into 2. So you get part 1, then a short break, and then part 2. So basically, any listening audio that you have to listen and answer questions on will only last a few minutes each. So let's just go through a little bit about the kind of audio programs that you'll listen to. So basically, section 1 is about a social context, and you'll get a discussion between 2 people talking about something. Often it's something like taking details on an application form is a typical example. Section 2 is also a social context, and this one is a monologue. A monologue means only one person speaking. Then we move on to section 3, and rather than a social context, section 3 and section 4 actually refer to education contexts. And section 3, you'll get a discussion between 2 to 4 people. So the only difference between section 1 and section 3 is that there might be more people involved in the discussion. And then section 4, following the pattern here, is a monologue. Again, this would be one person speaking, and often that would be a lecturer giving a presentation and academic type presentation, a lecture segment or something like that is quite typical. So there you have the kind of things that you're going to be asked. I should say that sections do get more complicated. So section 4 is the most difficult and section 1 is the least difficult. The people tend to speak at a reasonably natural pace throughout, but perhaps the pauses and rests are fewer in section 4. Now, really, if we look at the kind of listening skills that you need to answer this, basically the kind of questions are going to be related on 2 areas. One section will be about listening to get the general idea, and the second listening skill you need is to listen for specific information. And basically, the questions are designed to elicit those kind of skills. So let's look at some of the kind of question types that you'll get in the listening test. Of course, there will be multiple choice. And for multiple choice, you can have 3 choices, A, B, or C. Or you might get 4 choices, A, B, C, or D. Another type is matching, and this is where there will be 3 or 4 questions, and then you must match the answers from a set of options. Note that there is not always an equal number of questions and choices to match. So you might get 3 or 4 questions, but then you might get 5 or 6 or 7 choices that you need to match from those questions. So it's similar to the multiple choice, but a little bit of a twist there. Finally, we also have completion, and this is very popular. There are different types of completion question types. So, for example, you might have to complete information in a form, writing down names, writing down telephone numbers, addresses, that kind of thing. Or complete information that is presented in a table. So you have the table in front of you with some missing information, and of course you listen and write down the information that is missing. Or notes. So what that means is you're presented with, let's say, student notes on a lecture. Again, information is missing and you complete the spaces. There might be a summary, so this would be a summary of what the speaker has said with missing spaces there, so you complete the information there. Or lastly, there's a flowchart or diagram that you have to complete there. So sorry, yeah, there's one more, which is comprehension, and this is very standard type normal questions that begin with what, why, where, how, and who, and you simply write the answers to those questions. You'll notice that a common approach that they use in these question types is to limit the number of words that you can use. So with either completion or comprehension type questions, you don't have to write too much. Usually you can expect to write maybe 2 or 3 words. You won't need to write full, long, extended sentences or paragraphs or anything like that. The answers are usually very short. So let's look at a few examples. This is an example of the matching type exercise there. So you've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G to match with numbers 11 through 16 there. And another one here. So this is completing a form. This one is, as you can see, completing a table. Note, and at the bottom, questions 9 and 10 are completing information there in a sentence. Notice, again, with both of these examples, you've got the instructions of no more than 3 words, no more than 2 words, and write 1 word only in the last one for questions 9 and 10. So here is another example there at the bottom, saving for the future. This is an example of a summary where you have to complete the spaces there. And again, note the instructions are very similar there. And this is another example of a table. So there you have it. These are some of the examples of what you have to do for the listening. Now watch the next video and I will go into some of the tips and techniques and strategies that you can use to improve your listening score.